Okay, so here she is, Metal Gear Rex from 3A. Way too much detail to go into a video that I like to do. I do 20-minute videos on statues that don't do anything. So there's only a couple of kind of main points I want to make on this thing. First and foremost, it's $480. It's a very expensive figure, the most I've ever spent on any kind of figure or statue, toy, fill in the blank. I'm happy with it. I feel like as a collector, I probably would have spent more money to get my hands on this thing, to be honest. Not only is it made by 3A, which makes incredible figures, not only is it a kind of a one-off, you know, this isn't part of a series. They are making Metal Gear Ray, but that's not really what I'm talking about. I don't really know what the availability in the future is going to be like. So for me, for me, I love Metal Gear, and I love Metal Gear Rex. It's my favorite kind of robot of all robots. No matter what robot you're talking about, whether it's, RoboCop or C-3PO or a Transformer, or, I could name other robots for a while, but I think you get the point. I love me some Metal Gear Rex, and I love this figure. And I don't know, though, that it's necessarily worth the money, because it is, at the same time, a figure that, while it's beautiful and kind of more art than toy, for what you're getting, I don't know. It's interesting. I think that they are able to charge as much as they are because of the quality of their craftsmanship, their kind of exclusivity-ishness. I don't know how to really put that. You're not going to see a lot of people with this figure, so it's definitely a specialty item. I don't imagine a lot of people who want this thing are even going to end up with it, for whatever reason. At any rate, I'm babbling now. But for me, the overall quality of this figure justifies the price, without a doubt. So, real quick, a couple of the features I'm sure you've seen, or maybe you haven't seen. Maybe you don't know what this is. You've never seen this before, and you just kind of tune in for shits and giggles. Metal Gear Rex, for anyone who doesn't know, for whatever reason, at the end of Metal Gear Solid, the first Metal Gear Solid game on PS1, Snake fights Liquid Snake. Liquid Snake's piloting this Metal Gear Rex, and it's a giant thing in scale. I mean, his mouth is the cockpit. For my purposes, I have inserted a Mega Bloks Master Chief. Here are his lights. He's got 4 lights up here. He's got 2 lights inside the cockpit. Here and here is basically window teeth, and then also the control panel, or controls on the console there, light up too. Very cool. Not only is it cool because he has got a little console that lights up, it also sheds a nice little light on the pilot in there, whoever you end up with. Kind of wish I had Snake. Kind of feel like they should have made a Liquid Snake to go in there, but it's all good. So this is a giant figure. I don't know exactly what the measurements are. You can look it up. I probably should have looked it up, but he's huge. He's a big figure. He takes 3 AAAs in the head, 3 AAAs in the railgun. The railgun, I might as well get right into it. This is my biggest problem with this figure, is the railgun. And it's not that big of a deal, but it sags. And you can see there, it's just kind of off to the side here, and it should be sitting right about there. And even any position above it would be fine. Mine doesn't seem to ratchet at any point between here and level, so it should hold right about there. Be perfect. But mine goes, just to about there. I might be able to tighten up that joint. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know how many people are having this issue. I'd imagine it's fairly common. But there are lots of screws inside of hinges on this guy, so he can't be tightened up from one point to another. So, man, there's so much stuff. Like, he's got this little snarl almost. So he kind of has the pilot has a little view out of this little porthole, and it's kind of as if Metal Gear Rex is snarling. Very cool. There's so much stuff like this on this figure that it's just impossible, unfortunately, to really get into all the detail. I'm going to turn off these lights because they kind of blind my camera. They're really bright. They're brilliant lights. They kind of have to be seen in person to kind of really appreciate how bright they are. He's got lots of these little points here on his, all over his body. They're armor pieces that snap off. Make me a little nervous. You have to kind of pry them off a little bit. I think the biggest feature of this figure, the thing that really sells it for me is the paint job. 3A toys, if nothing, they make plastic look like metal. That's their bag, from best I can tell. This is, unfortunately for me, the only 3A figure, or 3A anything I own. But you can see when you take off armor, there is even more detail to be found underneath. Lots of detail. Everything's painted, looks wonderful. Everything looks metal. There's no kind of missed spots anywhere on the figure, from what I can tell. Everything looks legit. I took all of the armor off of his left knee here. That's basically 10 pieces, 10 individual pieces. You can see them here, except for this piece that goes on the another side. They vary in shapes and sizes. They follow kind of the natural lines of the figure, so when they're all put together, it doesn't really look like it even comes apart. You can see what I'm talking about here on the knee. Now you can see obviously there's lines there, but it doesn't look like it's necessarily going to, you know, these things are going to pop off. And boy, do these things pop off. These things come off way too easily. I understand why they did it. It's kind of a safety thing. They don't want these things snapping at any point. The same reason these things only plug in, and they'll come right off when you pull on them. They stay in place pretty tight, though. They're good and firm. They won't fall off on you like these things tend to. These little missile pod covers. I mean, you can kind of see they're pretty... You know, if you roll him over, if you pick him up and move him, a lot of those things are going to fall off. Same on his backpack up here. We get a little better view of Rex here. He's just an enormous figure. It's really tough to kind of do a review on him. There's some boxes, in case you're wondering what's going on over there. A lot of the shoujo stuff. There's my display. Anyhow, so much stuff to go into. Like I say, unfortunately I can't cover everything, but I wanted to show you a couple of different things. He's super posable. He'll get into a bunch of different positions. I'm not sure what position I want to put him in. Eventually he's just going to sit on my shelf. I don't think I'm going to touch him much. Let me turn off my lights here. Well, almost all my lights. Show you this railgun light up effect. It's amazing. Super bright. Like... That's another thing. It comes with a sticker on the front that says, "Do not look directly into light." Oh man, it's so cool. That's for me the coolest feature. I kind of almost wish it made a sound, but I understand why it doesn't. I think that might be like an artistic choice for it not to make a sound. That might kind of cheapen it in a way, if that makes sense. Few kind of major points of articulation on him. Lots of little movements everywhere. For instance, real quick, his toes. I love that these spikes, these toe spikes, are spring-loaded. Very cool. That so didn't have to be the case, but they made it the case. My left toe on this side looks a little wonky. Every now and then it gets into kind of a weird position. I'm not sure what that's about. The hinges here are pretty tight enough that it will keep the spring compressed there, and the spring is no slouch. I mean, it's a good spring. Like, you kind of have to really push on it. So these come up, the toes come up. Lots of articulation everywhere, and let's see. So, but the biggest kind of points of articulation are right in here. Let me see if I can get a light right in there. In fact, the tightest joint I've ever had, opposite side, right here. Comes with a tool to stick in here and turn these joints as you see fit. Definitely worth using the tool, especially the first time you move him. I haven't really needed to use it too much anymore because I've gotten him a little more loose, which is, I don't want to loosen him up too much, so I'm trying to reduce the amount I move him. But the other side was so tough, I had to take a blow dryer to it. And and just give it all I got. To be honest, I was pushing on it really hard. I was scared that it was going to break, but I had faith in 3A that they made quality stuff, and it paid off. Everything it cracked finally, and it started to move. It didn't break; it just broke loose, and everything was fine. Here's the little button right there. We'll see it again. Yeah. That's so cool. Again, like I say, lots of detail everywhere. There's so much to see on him. Like the back side of this thing is like super detailed and textured. And, I'm not sure what this is. He's got like a wobbly taint. I don't know if this is just my figure or what that's about. I don't know. I can't explain this. But not a big deal. He's got these kind of turbines in here, these power generators. Look very cool. They're kind of, everything's weathered and rusted out. Looks like he's been around for a while. Lots of the little print everywhere, you know, warnings here and there, like this stuff. A lot of them say like no step, and you know, basically kind of like what the Raiden figure has, the Play Arts Kai Raiden. So the paint is fantastic. As far as the paint goes, there are no real errors, and you know, it's kind of hard to say what an error is. It's supposed to look weathered and random. It's not, you know, he's not wearing a costume that's supposed to be precise or anything like that. So hard to say exactly if paint. I mean, the color is accurate. He looks like he does in the game. He looks exactly like he does in the game. In fact, I think that might be the reason why his railgun sags on that side, is that the hinges and all that stuff that hold it up are from the game. Like, that's what they look like. They modeled it exactly so. So, you know, game physics may not bear out too well in the real world. I feel like if they just put a little stronger ratchet joint right in there, I wouldn't be having the issue. But so much cool stuff to him. The railgun's a little heavy, and it seems like it kind of pulls on the backpack to the side a little bit. So maybe there might be square, but it tilts just a little bit. Again, a drawback of, I think, the design. It never you know, the design of this thing initially was never intended to be real. So, you know, draw from that what you will. I just noticed this. I'm not sure what that's about. There's a little kind of, I don't know what that is. Looks like kind of a clear something or other. I don't know. It could be nothing. I'm not sure what it is. It's not on this side, but this side I know comes apart and is part of the, you know, battle damage. Lots of removable panels on this thing. I'm not sure how many in total, but there's a lot, and they're all super detailed. I'm kind of tempted to display him that way with all the panels taken off, but that makes me feel really awkward. I don't like the feeling that he's that all the panels aren't in place. I don't know. Maybe that's have some form of OCD regarding that. I'm sure people can relate though. It's got a little articulated antenna up here. It's on a ball joint and a hinge, so you get a good range of movement out of it. I'm almost certain, and I don't know, I'm almost certain that there's supposed to be another one on this side. I have to imagine that is Konami. If that isn't accurate, I have to imagine that's Konami's kind of slip-up, not 3A's. This top portion comes off too, but I haven't really, that's one I haven't taken off yet. It feels like it's in there pretty tight. I don't really care to see what's underneath there. I've seen pictures of it. It's just another part of the battle damage. This has been an issue. He comes packed in styrofoam, and I've been finding these little styrofoam pieces everywhere. They got all over the place. It's a styrofoam block, but he's so heavy that he just shaves pieces of it off. Here's some piece there. It goes back together. Man, so much cool stuff in this figure. I'm really happy with him. I'm kind of thrilled by him, really. This is by far the coolest thing in my collection, like, without a doubt. He's heavy. He's very heavy. He's I don't know how heavy he is exactly. He's probably a good, I don't know, 15 pounds or something like that. Just the coolest thing I've ever seen, basically. I love Metal Gear REX, though. I know there's a lot of people that are fans of it. I've seen people with tattoos of Metal Gear REX. None of them look particularly good, though, but that's why I don't have tattoos. I can't hang with that kind of stuff. Alright, and there's that. the antenna, the radome, the inside of it. Looks exactly as I remember it from the game, and I know it's accurate. I've seen pictures of it since, but it looks just like I remember. Kind of wish he came with a liquid snake. I think that should have been a standard kind of thing, is that he came with a liquid snake. Not even snake, but liquid. But, you know, Master Chief's going to have to do, I guess. Very cool figure. I can't really say enough about it. I mean, it's just ridiculous amounts of detail. More detail than you realize is even in it. I promise that there will be big periods of time that'll go by and you'll find something else that pops off and is battle damage, and you'll be like, oh, well, look at that. There's one right here, for instance. I just took that off for the first time. It's just lots of stuff to find on this thing. He's like a little mini playground. If you're into figures, and if you can swing it to get this thing, I can't imagine you being dissatisfied. Now, there's plenty of arguments being made that you could spend, you know, your $500 better elsewhere. Fine, but if you are collecting figures, if you're into Metal Gear, I was expecting to love this thing. I love it more than I was expecting to. Great figure, great buy. I'm so happy I got this thing. So happy that Sideshow Collectibles decided to do a flex pay on it, because I wouldn't have been able to afford it otherwise. A little more detail. This kind of stuff is everywhere on this figure. Big pieces come off, little pieces come off. And he's just a dope figure. Okay, real quick size comparisons. If you watch my channel, you're probably familiar with Bishojo. There's Bishojo Power Girl. Power Girl is no slouch. She's a fairly large-ish Bishojo statue, and you can tell she's dwarfed by Rex. Something a little more relatable. Maybe you aren't into Bishojo, so here is, what do we got? Marvel Legends Deadpool. Tension Deadpool. There we go. So, you should know the size of a Marvel Legends figure, I think. And that's him, compared to Rex. Rex is just enormous. He's, I took him to go record a podcast, and I had to belt him in the seatbelt, so he didn't go anywhere, and he fit. Man, he's just the coolest thing I own, in my opinion. He screams awesome. It's super eye-catching. I found my you know, I would have posted a review earlier, like the day I got him, but to be honest, when I got him home and I sat him here on the table, I just spent time, like hours at a time, just sitting at him. Like, that was what I did after work. I didn't play video games. I didn't do any of my other normal kind of activities. I just sat here and stared at this thing. And it's taken me a little while to kind of get over him and get batteries, in all honesty. I wanted to make sure he lit up for the review. So here he is, 3A Metal Gear REX. Thanks for watching. I got more reviews coming. I'll be doing Bishojo stuff. I've got a bunch of Bishojo I haven't done reviews for yet. I've got Black Cat, Invisible Woman. I've got, what's her name from Tekken? I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I think her name's Metal Gear Rex or something like that. Of course, I'll be doing the next one to come out, Commander Shepard, FemShep. I've got the variant one ordered from BioWare. Hopefully that one shows up sooner than later. So stay tuned for all that. Oh, subscribe and like.